approve criteria B. If you finish before then, just kind of let me know and then we'll see. Yes, so you're going to use the, sorry, you're going to use the same case study that you did before. Yeah.
This is A.
Go ahead and get everyone's attention. I think the conversation you guys are having might be useful to have. Well, I don't know about later, but there's some points that come up in the back that would be useful to discuss with everyone. So, okay, what did everyone get for your assessments?
Well, we get this endangered B1 AB plus 2AB.
So endangered B1AB plus 2AB. And what were the sub-criteria you got under B?
It's like 1, 2, and 3.
Endangered B1, AB 1, 2, and 3, plus 2, AB 1, 2, and 3. Okay. How about this?
B2, AB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 5.
5.
And that was critically endangered.
It's good to know.
Okay. And you guys got?
Critically endangered B2 AB 1, 2, 4, 5.
So you got 1, 2, 3, and 5. You got 1, 2, 4, and 5. And you got 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
This is good because we'll go over this. Yeah, we'll go over this. Okay. So actually, there's something that I said that might have thrown some people off. So I just want to clarify. I mentioned in the summary sheet. So I mentioned in the summary sheet that if you meet some of the thresholds for, oh wait, stop. Listen. If you meet some of the thresholds for a higher category of threat, say you meet B1 and B2 for critically endangered, but you don't meet all of the thresholds. If you had more than one location, then that meets the, if you had 3 locations, that would meet the endangered threshold. Then you would have to go down a column and list the species under endangered. And that's because you have to meet all of the thresholds for any given category. If you don't meet the thresholds for one of the sub-criteria, then you have to list the species under the category for which you meet all of the thresholds. But if you meet, in this example, you met endangered for B1 and B2, and critically endangered for B2. So you don't always choose the lowest common category. You list the species under the highest category for which you meet the thresholds. So if you're looking at different sub-criteria within the category, you have to go for the category for which you meet all of the sub-criteria. And you know, like I said, if that means that you have to go down to endangered because there's more than one location, then you do that. But if you meet different criteria for different categories, you would always list the species under the highest category of threat. So in this case, you list the species under critically endangered because it does meet that B2 threshold. So let's just go through this quickly. So the extent of occurrence is 560 kilometers squared, so that meets the threshold for endangered. The area of occupancy was 9 kilometers squared, and that meets critically endangered. Did you guys list it under the number of, for A, was it under the number of locations or because it was severely fragmented? Severely fragmented. Okay, exactly. So the reason that they justified that in this assessment is because none of those, so the populations are all scattered by more than a kilometer, and there's not likely to be any dispersal between those subpopulations, or between those individuals. And because their subpopulations are actually not supporting the pollinators, none of those subpopulations are likely to be viable. So it very clearly means severely fragmented. It also said in there that it meets, so severely fragmented, that meets B1 and B2 for any of the categories, B1A and B2A. There are 2 locations, so that would meet endangered, B1A and B2A. So right now we've got critically endangered B2A, and we've got endangered B1A plus B2A going. So if we look at B, because this repeat photography has shown that the plants occurring in those 7 different sites disappeared by 1996, that can be interpreted to mean that there's a continuing decline in the area of occupancy as well as the number of mature individuals. So that's 2 and 5. Habitat transformational loss has been taking place for decades, and at least in some cases, the areas where the plants formerly occurred, that has been cleared. So that can be considered a continuing decline in the area, extent, or quality of the habitat. And this is expected to continue into the future. There wasn't, some of you said 1, so B1 would be a continuing decline in the extent of occurrence. In the data given here, I don't know that there's really enough information because they say that the individuals have declined, but we don't know if the individuals that disappeared on the outside of their range or also. So let's say if these are the individuals and we've lost, as we lose them, if we're losing these on the inside, the extent of occurrence is actually the same. We could lose all of these and the extent of occurrence stays the same. And in the account, it didn't say whether we were, if we lost just this one, then the extent of occurrence is going to decline. And if we lost another one, it's going to decline even further. So I would assume that the species expert would probably know where these are disappearing from. Maybe not, but we certainly didn't know. So I assume it's not under B1, a continuing decline in the extent of occurrence. I would assume it's because they either don't know where those individuals are disappearing from, or the outlying individuals are still secure. For B2, for B2, a continuing decline in area of occupancy. We've discussed that already. So number 4 was a continuing decline in the number of subpopulations or locations. Theoretically, you could probably say that if the individuals continue to disappear, then the number of subpopulations may disappear if you're counting each individual as a separate subpopulation. They didn't do that in this assessment, so I'm assuming that that's not. Go ahead.
How can you have decline in the area of occupancy or even